Good morning and good afternoon, boss ladies and boss men. Happy Friday to everybody. If you're joining for the first time, no, I don't normally sound like this. I've been out with COVID for the past 7 days. Feeling better. Every day is a struggle, just getting past it. But as I push through it, I feel like that I'm finally on the other side. Um, so, like I said, no, I don't normally sound like this. And if you don't know, Friday is my favorite day of the week. And so I'm always super excited on Fridays just to get through the business and to have some personal time in the evening. So I'm your host, Bill Hega, Executive Loan Officer with Rocket Mortgage Local. I always stress local because my pricing on my rates is a good 1% to 1.25% better than our call center in Detroit, Michigan. So on a $500,000 house, just because you're doing business with me versus the home office, it's going to save our buyer a good 5,000 bucks. All right, so that's huge, right? Welcome to Creating Opportunities. This is where we discuss ways to collaborate with myself. Um, we discuss ways to grow your business, how I can help, how our programs can help you generate more business, and the overall picture, to help as many clients home as we possibly can. So that's our goal. Um, let's see how well we've been doing it. All right. So we're going to talk about some things today. Um, and we're going to talk about today's agenda being pretty much wins from last month. Okay. We just closed in September. That month is over. Now we're moving on for our next month here. But some solid wins from last month that I want to discuss. I won't mention last names just to keep everyone private. But for instance, Kyle and his fiance came to me for a pre-approval. They were buying a house from his mom and dad. Um, so perfect opportunity for me to jump in and use some equity where most people wouldn't even thought about doing it. Okay, so here's the scenario. So they're buying mom and dad's house. Mom and dad's giving them a gift of equity so they don't have to have a down payment or cover their closing costs. All that's going to be covered by the equity of the property. Now, I took it one step further, being a young couple, first jobs out of college, just now getting their feet wet, if you will. Both of them have automobile payments that were well over 800 bucks together. All right. Once again, they're a new couple, first time home buyer. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I took that equity and I paid off both of those automobiles and saved them over $800 a month. That allowed us to put them into a 15-year mortgage. And I mean, it is just crazy how this deal worked out. So they saved over $800 a month. We were able to move them from a 30-year to a 15-year, cutting off 15 years of mortgage payments, which was huge, which is like $273,000 on the backside of just interest savings. And it also closed in 14 days sooner than what the expected due date was. So I think on every single aspect of that particular loan and that scenario, we crushed it. Now, one other thing that we did, right? We have the temporary free 1.0 temporary rate buy down that we're doing, which was huge. So their rate was at 6.125, fixed rate on a 30-year. However, with the 1.0 temporary buy down, they get a rate of 5.125 for the first 12 months of payments, which was huge. So they're actually taking that savings and over applying it so they can pay the house off in 10 years versus the 15 years that I explained to them. So amazing. I can't imagine starting out you're starting out as a new couple. You don't have an auto payment between the two of you, and you're going to end up paying your house off in 10 years. I mean, what a start. What a start to life that is. That's huge. Um, Another closing I had was with Jerry. He's a first time home buyer as well. Now, Jerry had some money. He'd been saving for quite some time. His struggle was, do I put 10% down or 20% down to avoid PMI? Well, after talking to Jerry and explaining to him that our PMI is about 40%, 60% less than everybody else, and let's just run the numbers and take a look at it, right? So he was buying a $375,000 house. So 10% was 37,500 or 20% was 75,000. So you tell me, would you put 37,500 and not save $42.19 on PMI? Or would you go ahead and put the full 20% down of 75,000 in order to save $42.19 per month? After you do the math, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? So Jerry, having saved for all these years, is also looking to get into some different investments, right? So he's buying this house to get into the real estate business. But then he was also talking about, if he had some money left over, then he was considering buying some stocks and some gold and silver. So once I got done explaining and showing him that, the PMI that we were going to be charging was only $42 and some change, use that 37,500 and go put it towards something else that's going to grow money, right? So now he's got multiple investments versus just the real estate investment. Okay. Um, that was huge. His first 12 months of payments was based off of a rate of 5.375, thanks to our free 1.0 temporary buy down once again. So that was a rate of 5.375. You hear that? That's huge. What's going to happen in a year from now? Rates had better be lower. And then at that point in time, we're just going to refinancing, right? But that's a huge savings. That got him off the fence, right? Because he didn't want a 6% rate. He wants a 5% rate. And that's exactly what we gave him. That loan even closed, what, 3 days sooner than what was expected on the purchase agreement. Next client, Kelly. She's moving. All right. Kelly and her family were selling a house in Montana and buying a house in Alabama. If you've ever had these come up, they're pretty challenging because everyone wants to close on the same day, right? No worries. We do them all the time. Okay. I've done a number of these, especially for Miranda. Miranda seems to have a number of these, but, people want to move down to Alabama, and that's probably the reason. But, anyways, um, I had to jump in, had to get involved because you always want that first closing to happen in the morning, give the title company enough time to wire the funds from their account to the new title company. So then funds are there for the closing, right? No one likes dry closings. There's no fun in that. Everyone expects to get keys, once they get done signing. And on a dry closing, you normally don't get the keys. So, unless, once the funds hit, then you get the keys. So, long story short, we got them both closed today already. Um, they are taking care of business down there as we speak. That was a $290,000 purchase. Um, Funds were wired from that title company to our new title company to cut out the bank, right? The last thing you want is an opportunity for anyone to be able to cause havoc with your closing days and times. So you just don't even give that an option. Okay. But once again, she benefited. We signed her at a 5.625% rate, and she's getting a 4.625% rate, based off her payments are going to be based off of 4.625% rate, thanks to our free 1.0 temporary buy down again. And then I also wanted to talk about one of Miranda's clients that I just got approved yesterday. So this person was fortunate enough to retire early with no Social Security coming in, with no pension coming in. He's a day trader, right? So he's got money that he can play with. And but it's real hard to document income, right? When when the time comes to buy a house, you always have to have income. Okay, this guy really doesn't have any income except for what little he makes, trading. So the asset depletion program that we just acquired and is now available, I was able to think through this a little bit. And on our non QM program, all right, so non QM programs for houses that don't quite fit Fannie Mae's guidelines or Freddie Mac's guidelines. Okay, those are called non QMs. In our non QM program, we have asset depletion as income, but more importantly is I can take whatever their assets are, right? So in this case, he's got a 401k that's got like 560,000 in it. After we subtract out closing costs, down payment, and reserves, if they needed any reserves, depending on their scenario, then whatever's that balance is left over in that an investment account, then I can take that money and divide it by 84 months and use that as income. Okay. So, all right, where's all that go? What's the difference? Right. So you have Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. We've got an asset depletion program with them, right? Only when we divide that one, it's by 360 versus 84. All right. So this same person's income was just over $2,000 a month with Fannie and Freddie QM programs, right? Once I took them non conforming, non QM, then I was able to use the income divided by 84 months. And that took his income from just a little over $2,000, as I mentioned, up over $5,000. All right. So he went from not qualifying to being able to buy a $350,000 house. I know that I sent that. I'm supposed to go through the numbers with them. And then they're going to be meeting up with Miranda and start looking for a house. Hopefully, they can get a house, get into a house this weekend. So that's the goal. So, a few things that we're doing right and pretty consistently that really seems to be driving a lot of business right now. Just want to talk about these, just want to mention them. If you're interested in connecting, collaborating, working together, let's schedule an appointment so we can kind of go through your business, find out what you're currently doing, and then see how I can add to it and help and give some ideas on how to promote and market yourself within our programs. Okay, takes about 45 minutes or so, but well worth the time, especially once you realize the programs that we've got. Okay, so just a few things. Obviously, I mentioned our free temporary 1.0 buy down. That's huge. That's giving our clients 1% interest rate. Their payments are based off a 1% interest rate lower than what they currently lock at. That's for first 12 months. That's huge. That's taken a lot of people off the fence. Remember, there's no more contingencies on purchases, right? If you have any questions about that, call me. We have a iBuy program that will step in, offer cash. It's a beautiful program as well. We offer bridge loans. If you know anything about bridge loans, they allow you to buy before you sell. Okay, huge. Um, Another thing that I think is simply amazing is that we moved our underwriting from the back of the line to the beginning of the line. All right. What's that really mean? So now every client that we can submit in for what we call a verified approval letter, a VOW, that's the letter that's upgraded from the pre approval letter, right? I provide pre approval letters, underwriters provide verified approval letters. Okay. That's a whole different step, right? So in most cases, as long as our clients are providing us with all the documents that we need up front in order to do this, then we can submit it right away, get a upgraded approval letter within just a few hours. Actually, I submitted one earlier. Um, Miranda's client, I just got approved, and I'm expecting to see their verified approval letter get emailed over to me here in the next hour or so. So that's huge. So anytime you can go to the table with an underwriting approval versus a loan officer approval, there's a big difference, right? So what's also big about that is it allows us to close our loans a lot faster, right? I mean, if the client's already underwritten, all we need is title, a clean title, and an appraisal with as is and the value you get. That's it. So We're taking our closings from really 20 to 30 days to 15 to 20 days based off of this, how we're handling this information. So, that's really about all I have. If your clients are looking for a better rate, better payment, have them contact me. Okay, let's go through your book of business. Contact me. Let's schedule an appointment, and let's figure out what's working for you and what we can add to it, and get some sales moving on you. Okay. Um, I want to thank everyone for your referrals, your collaborations. I've had some amazing conversations with a few of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to doing business with all of you. I want to wish everyone a good luck this weekend. I'll have my phone on and my laptop near me. So if you need anyone to get pre approved, I'll be able to take care of those for you. Mind you, I've gotten verified approval letters on weekends as well. So I still submit those. They come back pretty quickly. And like I said, we're always wanting to be the best, on that offering table. Um, I would say that's it. Um, reach out to me if you have any questions, any comments. I'll get back to you. Just shoot me a text is normally the quickest and easiest way to communicate with me. And I normally respond within a minute or two. Okay, that's it. That's all I have. Good luck, everyone, on this weekend. Let's get some people under contract. Good luck. Thank you. Bye bye.